The Adventures of Derek, the hero who didn't want to be a hero. Once upon a time, in the quiet little town of Blunderbrook, there lived a perfectly average teenager named Derek Puddlewood. Now, Derek wasn't your typical heroic figure. He wasn't especially brave, strong, or smart. In fact, the most courageous thing he'd ever done was refuse to eat his mom's mushroom casserole at dinner once. His biggest life achievement so far was completing level 99 of Zombie Splat 3 on his video game console. But fate has a funny way of choosing its heroes, and Derek was about to find himself in the most ridiculous adventure ever. One cloudy afternoon, Derek was lounging in his room, scrolling through memes, when there was a loud knock at his door. He opened it, expecting his neighbor Kevin to have come to borrow his lawn-mower again. Instead, there stood an enormous, mysterious figure wearing a long cloak, holding a staff, and sporting what Derek could only describe as seriously out-of-date sandals. "Are you Derek Puddlewood?" the cloaked figure asked dramatically, as if Derek might be someone else entirely. Yes?" Derek replied, confused. "Excellent," the figure boomed. "You have been chosen to save the universe." Derek blinked. "Wait. What now?" The cloaked figure, who introduced himself as Professor Zargaroth, explained that Derek had been selected by the ancient order of the Potato Knights to stop the evil Lord Bumblesnarf from taking over the multiverse. Why the Potato Knights? No one knows. Potatoes are surprisingly wise. "I think you've got the wrong guy," Derek said, pointing at himself. "I can't even decide which cereal to eat in the morning, let alone save the universe." "Nonsense," Professor Z declared. "You have the heart of a hero." Derek checked his pulse. It felt like a regular heart. Without waiting for more arguments, Professor Z whisked Derek away through a shimmering portal. They landed in a strange, otherworldly realm where everything looked like a poorly designed video game. Derek half expected to see pixelated trees and health bars hovering over people's heads. It turned out the multiverse was, indeed, in terrible danger from Lord Bumblesnarf, a villain with the face of an angry goose and the temperament of a toddler denied candy. "I can't do this," Derek protested. "I'm just a guy. I once tripped over my own shoelaces and fell into a bush." But the professor wouldn't listen. He handed Derek an old, rusty sword. It was about as intimidating as a spoon. "You'll be fine," Professor Z said, patting him on the back. "Just use your instincts." Derek's instincts told him to run away and find a taco stand. Still, he found himself on a quest, accompanied by a band of equally unqualified companions: Beatrice, a talking squirrel who could shoot acorns like a machine gun, Gerald, a grumpy wizard who constantly forgot his spells, and Splunk, a three-eyed alien who was really good at solving Sudoku puzzles. Their journey was full of absurd challenges. They battled a herd of wild, ferocious unicorns with a deep hatred of puns. They narrowly escaped a castle made entirely out of cheese, which was slowly melting in the sun. And Derek accidentally ended up sitting on the magical throne of Marshmallowia, where he was briefly declared king of the fluffy people. Through it all, Derek remained convinced that there had been some sort of cosmic mix-up. Surely, the universe didn't want him as its hero. He wasn't brave like the knights in movies, or clever like the characters in books. He was just, well, Derek. But somehow, against all odds, he managed to bumble his way through each challenge. He discovered that his true skill was not in fighting or magic, but in being relentlessly, spectacularly average. When they finally confronted Lord Bumblesnarf in his lair, Derek's instincts kicked in. "Lord Bumblesnarf," he yelled, swinging the rusty sword like it was a baseball bat. The villain cackled and prepared to unleash a storm of evil magic. But just as Bumblesnarf began his villainous speech, Derek accidentally tripped over his shoelaces, flailing the sword wildly as he fell. The sword bonked Bumblesnarf squarely on the head. With a squeaky honk, the villain went down like a deflating balloon, knocked out cold. Everyone stared. Derek blinked from the floor. "Well, that was easy," he said. With Bumblesnarf defeated, the multiverse was saved. Professor Z congratulated Derek on his heroism, though Derek still wasn't sure how tripping over his own feet counted as saving the universe. As they returned to Blunderbrook, Derek realized something important. Maybe being a hero wasn't about being brave or smart or strong. Maybe it was just about showing up, even when you didn't feel ready. Or maybe the universe just had a weird sense of humor. Either way, Derek was glad to be back home. He plopped down on his bed, pulled out his phone, and scrolled through memes. Hero or not, he still had a high score to beat on Zombie Splat 3. And that was just fine with him. The end.